Kadosh Boker or Masechet Nazir Daf Vav Amud Aleph 36a1 says the Gemara. Zeide argues on Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan just said that heter is mitzaref to Yisur by Nezirut. Meaning usually heter is not mitzaref to Yisur. The permissible things are not going to be combining to the prohibited things, right? But by Nazir it does, according to Rabbi Yochanan. Says Zide Amad Af Seor Beval Tatiru. Also, you have a term mitzaref to Yisur. There's something else. It's not only by Nazir, you also have Seor. Why? When we have the Yisur of bringing Seor to the Mizbeach, which means if you're going to bring on the Mizbeach half of Gazait of Seor and half of Gazait of Matzah, you're going to be Chayav Malkut on this bringing the Haktara. Now, even though part of it was actually Matzah, and there's no problem. Doesn't matter. It's going to be Mitzaref. Which means if you remember, there were only certain sacrifices, which was Chametz. We spoke about Korban Todah, you had 10 loaves of bread of Chametz. Shtei Alechem, 2 loaves of bread, which was on Shavuot. Other than that, everything else was always Matzah. So therefore, if it's always going to be Matzah, and now you're bringing Seor, which is the leavening product, so comes Zeid and he argues on Rabbi Yochanan and he says, are you going to tell me the only thing that is going to be Mitzvah to Yisur is Nazir? You have here as well the Seor. So Keman, who does Zeid go like? Like Rabbi Lazar. The Darish, because he comes and he says, what does it mean when it says the word kol? It says in the pasuk, Parasha Bo, kol machmetze lo tochelu. So there, when we're talking about eating chametz on Pesach, it says kol. Or, and it also says ki chol seor v'chol devash, lo tziru mimenu shel Hashem. So therefore, he comes and he says like this. He says, since it's written the word kol machmetze lo tochelu, so therefore we're going to come and we're going to say that just like it says ki chol seor, it's the same thing. So if we're talking about chametz, so it's not only just seor and bringing on the, even by chametz, it should be the same thing. If you're going to come on Pesach, Pesach is coming up, yeah? People are afraid. Well, the truth is you could already realize it. You go to the stores and you already see the matzah out. Yeah, even before Zizim Akdimi, even before Purim, they already have they start taking away, you try to find crackers, good luck, yeah? You're not going to find cookies and crackers, all these things, very difficult now. Yeah, so what happens? On Pesach, if you're going to take a half of a kazait of chametz and a half of kazait of matzah, you should also be chayav. Because if you're going to tell me that the word kol is adding on, that it's going to add in to combine both, so to buy chametz, it should be the same thing. Answers the Gemara, in Achanami, you're right. Also to do with the chilat chametz on Pesach, it's also going to be mitzaref. Meaning, not only is it going to be to do with the seor in bal taktiru means you cannot bring it on the sacrifice. So not only is it going to be, that's what you said, ki chol seor vechol devash, lo taktiru mimenu shel Hashem. Right? Kol seor, you're not allowed to come and bring the seor, which means that even a half a kazait of a seor, a half a kazait of matzah, asur, mitzaref, heter li'isur, then you get lashes. The same thing is going to be over here. If a person is going to eat half of a kazait of matzah and half a kazait of chametz, it's going to be asur. Ella, but rather la puke me'abaye. It's going to come to exclude that to the halacha of Abaye. What is the halacha of Abaye? The Amar that he says, Yesh aktara bepachot mikazait. Right? There's chiyuv malkut, even on aktara less than a kazait. So Kamash Malan comes to teach you, she'en aktara bepachot mikazait, which means like this. Even though Zeide holds that also by chametz, you're being mitzrefet to. One more time. Rabbi Yochanan comes, and that was on Lamed Hei Amud Bet says, Rabbi Yochanan, that all the Yisur in the Torah and heter mitzaref li'isur except for one. There's no Yisur in the Torah that you have it's tarfut, which means a combination between heter and Yisur other than Nazir. That is Shitat Rabbi Yochanan. Zeide argues and he added not only Nazir, he added Aktara Bal Taktiru. What is Bal Taktiru? Bal Taktiru is that you're not allowed to come and you're not allowed to bring a sacrifice with half a kazait of seor and half a kazait of matzah. So bal taktiru, and you would get lashes. But says the Gemara, 1 second, but according to Zire, you also have chametz. That if you had half a kazait of matzah, half a kazait chametz, also you're going to be chayav. So answers the Gemara, you're right, in Achanam is coming to exclude Abaye. But Abaye holds that he says that if you brought even less than a kazait of seor to the mizbeach, you get lashes. So here the chidush is that we're not going like Abaye, that you really need a full kazait. How do you have the full kazait? You have half a kazait of seor and half a kazait of matzah. And you would still get the malkut. So therefore, that's the chidush. Yativ Rav Dimi v'kama la leha shmata. Rav Dimi was sitting down in the bed of Midrash, and he said this halacha of Rabbi Yochanan, and he said that it's only going to be by Nazir. So Eitvei Abaye comes and he asks from a Mishnah. The Mishnah says hamikpah. A mikpah is a food, like a very thick food. Porridge, right? Kamodaisa, which is made out of the gan of truma. So it's made out of like the different grains of truma. Ve'ashum, talking about garlic. Ve'ashemen, or we're talking about oils, which is given for tavlinim, for spices, for condiments. Shelchulin. Okay, so now what happens? So you have one more time. You have the mikpah, which is the porridge from truma, but then you have the shum v'ashemen, which is basically the condiments, the spices from chulin. When agat vulyom, and vulyom came and he touched miksatan and part of the porridge, pasalet kulan. The entire mikpah is going to become prohibited, because since at the end of the day you have the gan of truma, which that's the main ingredient, is the gan of truma, and all the other ingredients which are mixed together is all considered one. So therefore, he's going to contaminate the entire thing. The mikpah shel chulin. What about the other way around? The mikpah was of chulin, meaning the porridge was made out of chulin, and then you had all the condiments, whether it's going to be the shum, the shemen shel truma, the garlic, and the oil from truma. And I got tvul yom in satan, and then a tvul yom comes and he touches. Remember, tvul yom is, for example, a person saw keri, he saw seminal discharge, so he goes to the mikveh, but then he's going to be a tvul yom until the nighttime. So technically, he's tvul yom. Tvul yom means he went to the mikveh, he did bilah. Tvul yom, he has to wait until the nighttime. Fine. In such a case that a tvul yom came and he touched miksatan, lo pasal lemekom magao. So he's only going to contaminate only the place where he touched, right? But everything else, right? Because it's not considered one thing, and therefore, since the shum v'ashemen, they're only coming there, it's keilu, it's not, they're not mechubar to everything else. So therefore, wherever he touched is a soon. So you just take out the spoon of where he touched, all the rest you could eat. So we ask, why bichlal is it going to be tameh even the place where he touched? Says Rabbi Yochanan, Matam, what's the reasoning? Only because somebody that's a zad, remember, a zad is a stranger, somebody that's not a kohen. If he's going to eat this and it has truman chulin, he's going to be lokeh bekazait. Now, we thought that the shum and the shemen of the truma are not batel betarovet, right? They're not going to be annulled. And therefore, they're going to be asur to the zad min Torah. So just like isur achila to the zarim in a truma betila, so too it's not going to be batel and it still has shem truma to do with the truma. And therefore, it's going to be a problem with full yom. But nevertheless, the mikpah is only a tarovet of truma. It didn't be machmin in it to people sell everything. So therefore, why in the world is going to be my time? So what's the reasoning then of Rabbi Yochanan to say that you're going to be chayam malkut to the zard, which is going to eat a kazait of this mikpah of chulin? You have condiments of truma. At the end of the day, you're eating the kazait of the mikpah, and in a kazait there's no kazait of truma. Imagine right now you take a kazait of the porridge, you ate it. How much is truma? Hardly anything. The condiments was of truma. The shum, the garlic, and the oil was of truma. But the main ingredient is the grains, which was chulin. So why are you going to get lashes? You didn't eat the kazait of truma. You ate the kazait of chulin. So says the Gemara in Lamed Vav Amud Bet 36b. Lav mishum, is it not because heter mitzaref lisu? That you're going to have heter, which is going to be mitzaref to lisu? So answers the Gemara. Elmaleh comes and he says, no, that's not the reason. My kezait, what does it mean kezait here? Te'ika kezait bichte achila pras. When you have the tarovet of truma with the kezait bichte achila pras, which means the amount of the tarovet, which is fitting for eating in a kedeh achila pras, which is eating half of a loaf of bread, you have a kezait of the truma. So therefore, when Rabbi Yochanan came and he said that a zad is going to be lokeh on eating a kezait of the truma, the kavanah that he's eating a shiur of a pras from the mikvah, but he's eating it in a kezait betoch achila pras. Okay, so therefore he's going to get malkut, because the truma, okay, which is going to come and is going to be mefuzeret in the mikvah and everything is going to all combine together when you're eating it together. So says the Gemara, okay, fine. Remember, whenever we're talking about eating anything always has to be kedei achila pras. For example, I want to come and I'm going to eat mizonot. So I'm going to take the mizonot over there and I'm going to make a mizonot. You make a mizonot, chazak uruch. Do you make al mechia? You have to eat 28 grams, okay, 28 grams, which is a kazait, Bichdei achilat pras. Bichdei achilat pras means within a certain amount of time. Again, there's the most stringent, which is 2 minutes, which usually we don't go like. There's 4 minutes, then there's 5, 6, 7, and then there's the 9, and even some people even say 10. Usually, right, each one, meaning like, usually we'll try to tell people. It's coming to do with the kazait of matzah on Pesach, try to do it within 4 and 5 minutes. When it's talking about that you're on Kippur and you have to eat every single few minutes and you have to eat bichdei achilat pras, so eat every single 10 minutes. And you're eating less than, you understand? So it means you're going lechumra lekula, each one according to the measurement, right, to the time. So he comes and he asks, achilat pras is doraita? He says, what are you talking about? At the end of the day, when a person comes and he's going to eat a kezai bichdei achilat pras, whoever told you that's doraita? So Elmaleh comes and he says, yes, shiur kedei achilat pras is going to be doraita. So he says, so why is it that Chachamim argue on Rabbi Elazar that they're going to be obligating Malkut on eating Kutah Chabavli on Pesach? At the end of the day, within the Kutah Chabavli, you have Chametz, and it's going to be like the Pras, right? Kedei achilat pras. So why are they going to argue that you're not going to get lashes? So Elmaleh comes and he says, Hanach lekutah chabavli, forget about kutah chabavli, telekat kazait b'chilaf pras. You don't have the kazait of bread. You don't have a kazait of chametz v'toch hechal pras. Either kasharif lemishraf, if a person is going to come and eat the entire thing in one shot, okay, without anything, batla dato etzekol adam, it's going to be batel dato etzekol adam, which means it's not normal to do that because it's so sharp. It's not normal to do that. So since it's not normal to do that, you're not going to get lashes even. The im mishtar kashata. Now you're going to come and dip your other things into it little by little. Lo mashkacha kazai, you're never going to have kazai b'chilaf. If you're going to use something as a dip, it takes time to eat. It's something you're eating. So for by the time you're using it as a dip, by the time you eat the kazai, it's not going to be dip. It's going to take you much longer. Okay? So ask the Gemara 8 ways. We're going to ask the question. Shte madochot. Imagine you have a madoch. A madoch is like one of these grinders of a mortars. Thank you. It's like a mortar which grinds, whether we're talking about spices or other things. So it says over here like this. You have shte madochot. One of them is used for truma, and one of them is used for chulin. Achat shel truma, achat shel chulin. Ulfanav shte kedorot. When you have two pots in front of you, one of them is of truma, one of them is chulin. V'naflu elu letoch elu. Now you have the tavlinim in the madochot fall into the pots. Now, I don't know which one fell into which. Meaning, one more time. I've got one mortar of truma, one mortar of chulin. They both have spices in it that I just crushed. I've got two pots in front of me. One of truma, one of chulin. The condiments fell into the pots. But now, I don't know what fell into what. Did the truma fall into the truma and the chulin fall into the chulin? Or did the truma fall into the chulin and the chulin fell into the truma? I don't know. One second. Shtehen mutarot. Both of them are going to be permitted, right? Which means the kedera truma is going to be permitted to the kohanim, and the kedera chulin is going to be permitted for the zarim, for the strangers, for the non-kohanim. Shani omer, because I'm going to say chulin into chulin naflu, the chulin fell into chulin, and the truma falls into truma.
Easy way.
All right? So that's what I'm saying. I'm saying this is called tolling. Tolling means I'm going to make it dependent that the heter fell into the heter and the isur into the isur, if you want to call it, even though it's not really isur, but meaning the truma fell into the truma, it's isur for me because I'm not a kohen, and the chulin fell into the chulin. So says the Gemara, v'isal kadanai, you're going to tell me now, kezai b'chdei achilat pras, kezai b'chdei achilat pras, it's going to be doraita. Amayam ninan shani omer. Why am I going to say then shani omer? At the end of the day, I'm going to be over an isur doraita, so you can't say tolin. If it's going to be an isur drabbanan, by Nisur Rabbanan, I could say such a concept of tolling. What is tolling? I'm going to say, you know what? Listen, I know, and by the way, here we're talking about truma and chulin, but really, be'emet, you could have other cases as well. You could have meat and milk. Yeah, you could have meat and milk. You had two pots in front of you, one of the meat, one of the milk, and I had two spoons, one of the meat, one of the milk. I came and I stirred both spoons. Well, right, one of them I used for the meat, one of these for the milk. Also, I put them down and I'm, 1 second. What did I do? Did I stir the meaty pot with the milky spoon, or the milky spoon with the milky spoon, and the meaty pot with the meaty spoon? I'm trying to think. I'm like, I use both spoons and I have both pots. What do? So he comes and he says, Elamai. So what's halacha? Heter mitzaref li isur. Heter is going to be mitzaref to isur. So amay amnin. So why do I say then shani omer? Why am I going to say then shani omer? It doesn't make sense that I'm going to say that the truma fell into the truma and the and the chulin fell into the chulin. Elahanach letrumat tavlin de Rabbanan. He says no. There's a big difference. You know why? Here we're talking about trumat tavlin, and trumat tavlin is only mina Torah. Mina Torah, we don't separate truma from tavlinim, from spices. Spices is a different halacha, and therefore the isur of truma lezarim is only going to be the Rabbanan. So since it's only going to be the Rabbanan, but it's not really mamash like a food, right? That's what he says here. He says it's only going to be from chamesh min dagan, miyay mishamin zayit. So he comes and he says, and he said, no, you also have to take off from other yirakot and perot. So therefore they come and they want to say that maybe it's only going to be the Rabbanan, but since it's going to be only the Rabbanan, because it's a tavlin, so therefore that's what he's saying. It's only a tavlin, so therefore he comes and he says that it's only going to be the Rabbanan. Okay? The truth is, now it says the Gemara 8 so we're going to ask the following question: Shte kupot. When you have two baskets, okay? Now these two baskets are filled with grain. Achat shel truma v'achat shel chulin. One of them is truma, one of them is chulin. Velifneim shte seim, and you have another two klei kibuz also that you have two seins, two seas. One of them of chulin, one of them in truma. V'naflu elu l'toch elu, and they fall into each other. So you have basically, let's say, like two baskets or two barrels, right? Like two salim, and then you have two klei kibuz, smaller ones, and each one falls into it, and you don't know what fell into what. Did the truma fall into the truma and the chulin into the chulin, or vice versa? So he comes and he says, "Shnei mutarim, both of them are going to be mutar." Because I'm going to say, "Shani omer chulin to chulin nafla, truma to truma nafla." So says the Gemara, "V'isal kadad." If you're going to come and you're going to tell me, "Kezai b'chdei achila pras is doraita." And when you're going to eat a kezai b'chdei achila pras, it's going to be nisur doraita. Amay amrinan. So why am I going to say shani omer? That I am going to say that truma latoch truma nafla. At the end of the day, it's going to be a surah mina Torah. So therefore, why in the world would I actually say that? It's going to be doraita, right? You can't be mekel in a sefek doraita. So the Gemara says in Lamizayim Mudalev, Bishum al it's good according to me. Damina, I'm going to say mishum detu mitzaref l'isur, that the Torah is going to be mitzaref to isur. Kegon and fish chulin. So therefore, there's going to be much more of chulin. So since there's much more of chulin, right? It's going to make sense. But according to you, that you're going to tell me now mishum dika kazai b'chdei achila pras, kinefishe chulin ma'avia. Even if I'm going to have more chulin, what do I care? Once it's going to be talking achila pras, you have enough in order to be mechayev. And once it's going to be mechayev, it's going to be a problem. So the Gemara is going to answer. Elmaleh, he says, "Hanach l'tuma bizman hazeh d'Rabbanan." Nowadays, tuma is d'Rabbanan, because basically once after the Bet HaMikdash it became d'Rabbanan. So therefore, once it became conquered by the Goyim, everything becomes d'Rabbanan. That's why there's not going to be a problem of truma d'Oraita, and that's why I'm allowed to say it now. It's a wonderful day, everyone.